I've long been a really big fan of taking muscles to a very high level of fatigue. Naturally, this inspires the idea of like, well, then take it to failure. Like go until you just can't go anymore, which has kind of been my MO for quite a while. But lately I've been really second guessing this. 6 weeks ago, I moved back east, and when I did, my workouts were all over the place, and as a result, I just had no motivation to work out. So instead of telling myself I had to push it to the very limit every time, I just said, go to like 80-85%. Much to my surprise, doing this not only made the workouts easier to just stick with, but my results went way through the roof. I feel like I'm making more progress now than I ever have. And after considering it for a few weeks, it kind of makes sense why pushing to failure can actually be holding you back. The first reason is simply a matter of recovery. A lot of us, stimulation isn't our problem in our workouts, it's getting enough recovery. And the more fatigue we entice by working out to our hilt, the more our recovery has to be on point. This means you've got to be getting at least 8 hours of sleep. You've got to have your diet on point, and you've got to be keeping stress at bay at all times. Naturally, this isn't exactly the most realistic plan for most of us who live in the modern day world. So while we may have a workout that takes us to a super high level of fatigue, those last reps and sets that bring us right to our limit could be the ones that require the perfect recovery plan that we just can't quite stick to. So as a result, we're overdriving our headlights and not able to recover as well. Going to like 80% or so gives you the ability to get that adequate recovery, even if your diet's not perfect, you're finding yourself up late at night once in a while, and your stress is coming at you from all sides, just as a matter of living a normal, everyday, modern day life. The second reason why it may be inhibitive to go to failure all the time is a neurological or mental one, where when we go to failure, we're going to a supposed limit. And the more we hit that limit, the more you may be reinforcing that limit that you can't get beyond. People ask me all the time in email, Matt, I can only do so many pull-ups, so many push-ups. How do I get beyond it? And it's like, well, the first thing you got to do is to stop saying you can only do 5 pull-ups or whatever the number may be. When you stop yourself a little bit short in your workouts and you think to yourself, yeah, I could do a little bit more next time, you open up those gates for potential progression. You're not pushing against a neurological limit every single time and reinforcing that limit. And the final reason why failure may quite be holding you back is when that's your number one goal. It's like, I'm just gonna make my muscles really tired today. Then you may be missing out on a bunch of other quality issues that may be even more important. In my book, Smart Bodyweight Training, I talk about my table of progressive elements. This means there are 9 things that you can concentrate on to make progress. And when you're constantly saying the only point of my workout is to make my muscles work until they can't work anymore, you may be ignoring a bunch of these and the quality of your workouts and your reps go down, all in the sake of just making yourself really tired. Another thing that seems indicative of building muscle is getting quality muscle training volume. And when we go into a high level of fatigue, especially in one set, the amount of reps you can do in subsequent sets nosedives. So you may get 1 or 2 good sets, but overall, how much volume are you getting that's of a quality nature? Now, I'm not saying that going to failure is always a bad thing. It's probably just like anything else. It's a tool. It's got its applications. For example, if you're doing a push-up contest, go until your arms fall off because you're trying to win a contest. I'm just suggesting that in the course of our normal everyday workouts, we may be better off going to like 80-85% rather than making the goal of the workout to just drive our muscles into the ground as hard as possible all the time. So what are your experience with going to muscle failure? Are you better off going to it, avoiding it? Are there other little workout tricks and tips that you have for building muscle? Leave them down below for the RDP community to share and discuss. Till then, be fit, live free.